Outside. Since this world has changed, we have barely had a normal day. To be honest, when did we ever decide any of this? I mean, the sign had been pointing here for years. I always called England home, but nowadays it has become harder and harder to say that word out loud. These streets are crowded. People are striking, shouting things like, "Deport the refugees! Britain for the British! Stop the boat!" And I keep asking myself, would same thing people have said that 20 years ago when I first moved to England from Angola? The crisis knocked on the door, not only one country, but of almost every nation on this lovely little planet called Earth. Everyone knows it. It is common sense. Yet people still need someone to blame. A few days ago, I had a chat with my local barber and an old gentleman from Baghdad. He said, "Mate, how do you see this situation? Is it really that bad?" I asked him. He signed before answering. The kind of sign that sounds older than the man himself. Duck, I lived in Derby and Nottingham for 30 years, and I have never seen such a mess in my life. A bit scary, innit? The other day, a middle-aged woman told me to go back to my country. Then she said, "You will never be British." He nodded slowly, almost unsurprised. That sort of thing leaves scars in society. The simple fact you said "our" it's already enough for some people to hate you. To them, we always be foreigners, even if we spend most of our lives here. I sadly agreed with him, paid for my haircut, and walked back home thinking about it. Maybe I should change my name, John instead of João. Maybe that would help. Or maybe I should move somewhere else, somewhere filled with people like me. People constantly ask where they are really from. But then another thought hits me. I speak English like a Brit. Sometimes I can barely speak my parents' language, which is Portuguese, and my accent is pure Derbyshire minor stock. How exactly I supposed to identify as African, pack my things and disappear into a land where I cannot even remember the corners of the streets? They must be out of their mind. Social media melted their brains, and now immigrants have become the easiest target available. Easier than blaming landlords, easier than blaming corporations, easier than admitting the system itself is rotten. Bloody odds, bloody CEOs, who could not care less about the mess are living in. I realized that I had said that out loud when a neighbor glanced through the curtains to check on me. For a second, I felt embarrassed, then angry for feeling embarrassed at all. Because this is my home too. No matter how many flags they wave, no matter how loudly they scream in town squares or comment sections, I have memories buried into this country, deeper than most of them probably ever will. My childhood sits in these streets. My teenage years echo through these pubs, these buses, these rainy football pitches behind brick schools. England shaped the way I speak, the way I think, the way I laugh. And yet, somehow, to them, I remain temporarily. I'm temporary. I guess who overstayed. That is the strangest part about xenophobia. It turns belonging into something conditional, something fragile. One bad election, one economic crisis, one headline, and suddenly people look at you as if you arrived yesterday. I stood there for a while under the orange glow of the streetlight, hand buried in my pocket, hearing distant sirens somewhere beyond the state. Then I laughed quietly to myself, not because anything was funny, but because after all these years, after all this effort of becoming part of this country, I finally understood something. To survive here, you will learn to carry two homes inside your chest, the one you come from and the one that still refuses to fully claim you.